At the beginning of the movie, a guileless guy named Baron gets arrested and sent to prison. His neighbor Otis is disappointed that his cellmate turns out to be a shy, mumbling type. Baron insists he isn't a criminal, while Otis lists off his own violations, including a few escapes. The guy begs for help getting out because he has plans with his girlfriend. Otis refuses, but Baron names a sum of $250,000, and the neighbor reconsiders. Baron says he has to be out tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. He swears on his hair that he'll hand over all the money, and he himself just needs to get to his love because he has to protect her. Baron tells his story. He worked as a mailman, and he really loved it. He found it fascinating to glimpse how people lived. His mom, Ada, advised him to find someone he felt good with and never let that person go, but the guy kept striking out. Then he got fired from the post office for his long hair, which he refused to cut because it was like Bob Marley's. That same day, he received a letter in the mail that the price had gone up on the medicine for his bedridden mother. Despite all his efforts, he couldn't find a job. Feeling low, the guy rocks on a swing in the park and flops down on the grass. Suddenly, a flashy girl with pink hair rolls up in a car. She walks over to Baron and asks what's interesting in this dump. The guy honestly says nothing, and the beauty drives off. In frustration, he smacks the swings with a stick, and the stranger suddenly comes back. He tells her about his little town that has only one traffic light but a whole lot of kindness. The girl laughs and asks him to give her a tour. From that moment on, they are inseparable. Her name is Marmalade, and she turns his life into a celebration. But her life is anything but sweet. She says she left home because her mother married a horrible man. Then the girl met a slippery type who gave her this car. It turns out she's an orphan, and her mother isn't biological. And Marmalade bounced through orphanages her entire childhood. Baron shares his sad story too. His mom used to say his father was an astronaut who couldn't visit because he was building a rocket, and then he blew up in it. The guy talks about how short on money he is now. Marmalade says that if the system is draining your blood, you have to build a new one and punish the old one. The girl asks to spend the night at Baron's place. When they get to the house, she eagerly tries to meet his mother, but the guy hints that now isn't the best time. In the morning, he gives Marmalade flowers, but she has no sense of smell. The girl says he's not alone anymore, and she'll be by his side. The guy is amazed by her zest for life, but realizes he has to get money somewhere. Marmalade pitches a crazy idea: rob a bank. Baron is stunned, and the girl kisses him and says fate sent him to her because he's her knight. They start working out a plan. First, they have to case the place, so the couple goes to a bank branch and later sketches the layout on paper. Marmalade assigns roles, who stands where and who does what. She says Baron will have to shoot out the security camera and hands him a gun. They start practicing at a range. Baron can't hit anything, while Marmalade nails it. After that, they buy outfits and sneak off together right there in the fitting room. Then Baron gets a tattoo of a jam jar with the word Marmalade, but the artist botches it and writes Mom. The ever-active Marmalade wants to make out everywhere, and Baron briefly forgets about his mom, but a cashier friend sends regards to her, and the guy hurries home. Baron tells Ada about their plan, and suddenly notices she isn't breathing. A couple of seconds later, she starts again. The guy sees there are only a few pills left. The next day, he and Marmalade head to a cabin in the woods that will be their hideout. The girl talks about her foster father, who is extremely controlling, sometimes shutting kids in a crate and banging the bars with his cane. Baron sympathizes and asks her to share the pain because he is her knight. They go to a store and find unusual masks with 3 faces on each. Marmalade doesn't want to pay, knocks out the cashier, and steals the cash from the register. Baron stands there rooted to the spot, realizing they just committed robbery with assault. They peel out fast. In a field, Marmalade hits the brakes when she sees Baron is in shock from what happened. She reminds him they have to rob the bank tomorrow to save his mother. The guy doubts the plan more and more, while Marmalade keeps trying to pep him up and push him toward success. Back home, the beauty keeps pressuring him. His mother starts coughing, and Marmalade says she'll go check on her. Suddenly, the girl screams in terror. Baron runs in and sees that his mother has died. The guy's story is interrupted by Aldis, who offers sympathy and talks about his own mom, who lives in Jamaica and has been sick her whole life. The man promises to help, but warns him not to start bawling. They go to the mess hall where Baron's food is immediately stolen and the others are about to beat him up. The cellmate steps in. A brawl among inmates breaks out, and Aldis, as the instigator, is taken to a separate cell to cool off. There, the man easily slips out of his cuffs, but the guard stays calm. It turns out he's an undercover FBI agent, tracking a notorious bank robber they haven't been able to catch for 2 years. She's nicknamed the Doll because she always commits her crimes in a pink dress. Aldis is sure that robber is Marmalade. He argues with his team because he needs more time, and he's almost cracked Baron. Meanwhile, the guy is allowed to call his girl. He leaves a voicemail saying the police grabbed him, but someone will help him escape for a fee. He promises he'll take care of her. Aldis promises he'll find out the meeting spot with the robber. Otherwise, tomorrow, he'll arrange an improvised release for Baron. He returns to the cell and listens to the guy's story. After his mom died, Baron thought they didn't need to rob the bank, but suddenly, the girl says she's pregnant. The guy is shocked, but he won't let her go on a heist alone. Marmalade is thrilled and heads off to get ready at once. They pull up to the bank, the guy stays at the wheel, and the girl storms inside. She comes out fast with the money, and as they flee the scene, she tosses some of it out the window onto the road. They arrive at the cabin in the woods. Marmalade rolls around in the money laughing, and Baron is rattled. He asks how she knows so much about robberies. Marmalade admits she's done it before. The guy is upset and says the money has to be returned. He starts to suspect the girl is lying about her sense of smell and about the baby to manipulate him. He heads to the car to grab the masks and burn them, and suddenly finds his mother's pills under the seat. He points the gun at the liar, but the girl keeps trying to justify herself. Suddenly, the police pull up to the cabin and order everyone to come out. Marmalade suggests splitting the cash and bolting in different directions, and tomorrow, meeting at 3:30 at their favorite spot. If one of them doesn't show, that means the cops grabbed that person, and the other should disappear forever. Marmalade tells him she loves him, calls him her knight, and slips out the back door, while Baron surrenders. Aldis asks where that spot is, but Baron says, "Help me break out and you'll see." The cellmate tries to scare him. "You threatened her with a gun. She won't forgive you, and she won't come." But the guy says he believes in love. Aldis realizes he has to stage a breakout. He leaves the cell and, with the help of a guard accomplice, changes into a prison worker uniform, then asks Baron to climb into a laundry cart. They roll toward the exit. One guard wasn't in on the plan and almost blows the escape. Aldis shoves the cart out the door, tossing in car keys. A chase for Baron kicks off. The agent radios in tips on how to spot Marmalade. Since this whole time he's been sketching a composite of her from the guy's words and marking tattoos and other features. Baron pulls up at a flower shop. The watchers assume he'll buy a bouquet for the girl, but he drives with them to his mother's grave. Then he heads to the roadside cafe where he and Marmalade once sat. The time is already 3:15, but it turns out that isn't the meeting place. Baron's car pulls away, and an FBI tail follows. Finally, the car stops. The agents wait for the robber to appear, but she doesn't, and they decide to grab the guy. They storm the vehicle, and out steps an employee of that very cafe. Meanwhile, Baron reaches the cabin, pulls money and a newspaper from the fireplace, and there's a story about the FBI hunting the bank robber nicknamed the Doll, and a photo of Aldis. The agent, meanwhile, drives to the cemetery and finds a jar of marmalade on Ada's grave with "Mom" written on it. Baron goes into the bathroom and cuts his hair. Aldis realizes he's been played. He asks for the bank's surveillance stills and spots a tattoo on the robber's leg, the same one Baron had, which means the bank wasn't robbed by Marmalade at all, but by the guy himself. At the same time, the guy puts on a wig, glasses, and a dress, and a blonde girl breezes through the police checkpoint. Otis is baffled because he no longer understands who he's supposed to be looking for. He explains to his colleagues that Marmalade never existed. At that moment, Baron walks into a pharmacy for medication ordered under the name Ida Lemrum. A colleague runs up to the agent with news. They trace the number the guy called from jail, and it leads to that very pharmacy. They race over. Baron takes the bottles from the pharmacist. They reflect in the mirror, and you can see that Ida Lemrum is Marmalade, spelled backward. The guy says the meds are for his foster mom. When the FBI arrive at the address, they meet the owner of a pharmaceutical company called Baron. The man yells that they're slow, and $500,000 has been stolen from him. It turns out he deposited the money in a bank, and the bank was robbed the next day. Otis starts putting it together and asks whether he manufactures the drug Baron's mother used to take. The pharma boss confirms it. The agent clarifies whether he has foster kids. The man waves his cane and says yes, and he turns riffraff into decent people. Otis understands this is the very foster father from Marmalade's story and sends a team to search his house. Agents find a jar of marmalade in the man's garage, plus cages, put it all together, and arrest him. Otis heads to his car and notices a sticker from the cookies Baron used to feed his mother stuck to the mirror. That treat is sold at the same pharmacy, and the pharmacist says the guy went to the travel agency next door. There, Otis is handed a letter from the fugitive and a ticket to Jamaica so he can visit his mother. Meanwhile, Baron goes to the nursing home where he works, hands out the medicines he bought to the residents, and visits his mom, treating her to those cookies. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.